everyone, it's Stephanie back with a new tutorial. I hope that your new year is off to a fabulous start. Today on our show on the Maureen Bradley Designs YouTube channel, we are going to be learning how to make this beaded bracelet. I've strung it on beading chain instead of beading wire. I'm going to show you how to crimp on it. I'm going to talk with you about how cloisonné beads are made, and I'm also going to talk about this Tensha process. I hope you enjoy our show today, and if you can, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any comments, please do let me know as well. If you have any ideas that you'd like to see for our channel, please do also let me know. So let's get down to the mat and learn how to make this beautiful beaded chain bracelet. Okay, so these are a few of the bracelets I've made, featuring the cloisonné beads and also the Tensha beads, and I'm going to show you them up close. So here's one that has most of these, most of these, but the exception of this, are all cloisonné. This is a cloisonné bead drop that I used. The butterfly. They're just really intricate and beautiful, so I thought it would be fun to use them together in some designs. And since it's Valentine's Day, I thought maybe bracelets would be a good way to showcase some of these beautiful beads. Here's the other one I made. All of these are on the Maureen Bradley Designs website, so if you are interested in just having something to wear or purchasing a gift, these are available at maureenbradleydesigns.com. So there's this one. Also all cloisonné, with the exception of my spacer beads that I just use regular gold. This is a lava bead. And then these two, excuse me, these two here showcase the Tensha bead. And I thought, since these beads are so special, it would be really wonderful to pair them with the special cloisonné beads. And again, I'm just using gold lava beads, some crystal spacers. This one has some check glass beads. This is a mosaic shell bead, which is they use shell and resin together to create a bead. And then I did put box clasp with added Austrian crystals to these box clasps with a gold charm. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about cloisonné because I find it fascinating, and also the Tensha beads. So since we're looking at these, I'm just going to take a minute. I'll put this back in my hand, and I'm just going to read or tell you. I have a little bit of verbiage to read to you about cloisonné beads because there's no way I'm going to remember to tell you all these details. So I did have my little laptop up, and I just pulled up some information about cloisonné so I could tell you about it because it is really interesting. So cloisonné beads are decorative metal beads featuring intricate designs created using an ancient enameling technique. This process involves wire work, enamel filling, firing, and polishing and finishing. The wire work is thin metal wires, which are usually brass or copper, that are shaped into patterns and soldered onto a metal bead base, forming small compartments or cloisons. Colored enamel is then carefully applied to these compartments. The bead is then fired at a high temperature to harden the enamel. After the bead cools, it is polished to smooth out the surface, and then sometimes gold or silver plating is added for extra shine. So these beads are known for their vibrant colors, intricate floral or geometric designs, and a slightly raised texture. They have a rich history dating back to ancient Egypt and China and are commonly used in jewelry making for an elegant vintage touch. Don't you agree? I think they do look vintage and really elegant. So that is a bit about the cloisonné beads I've used. And then just a little something about the Japanese Tensha bead I've used here. Get this in my hand. So Tensha, this bead right here, are high quality decorative acrylic beads known for their intricate, delicate designs. The word tensha means to transfer in Japanese, referring to the process used to apply the designs onto the beads. They are made by a detailed printed design, which is often floral, filigree, or traditional Japanese motifs, which are then carefully transferred onto the bead's surface. A clear acrylic coating is then applied over the design to protect it from wear and fading, giving the bead a smooth, glossy finish. These beads are special because unlike glass or ceramic beads, tensha beads are light, yet they are sturdy. The designs are incredibly detailed and vibrant, often resembling hand-painted artwork. And from floral and vintage to modern and elegant, they fit a wide range of jewelry styles. These are great. Tensha beads are great for statement jewelry pieces, especially earrings, necklaces, and bracelets, which is why I have combined them here with the Cloisonné beads and some clay sparkling beads for my design. So today I wanted to share with you how I made these, and we're going to do one similar that combines the tensha bead and the Cloisonné. So let me get this out of the way here. Put this up above. I have lots of stuff on my table today. It's a busy day here at Maureen Bradley Designs. And then one other thing I had. So I have been collecting. Get this. Hopefully I can get this in the view here. I've been collecting Cloisonné beads for some time, and I have a little bit of a variety. I think whenever I see them, I just go ahead and jump on them. I've bought them from a variety of places, and I have been dreaming about creating these for some time because I thought that they would just be so lovely and special for gifts. Here's some other blue, whoops, dropping them, a blue one. These puffy ones are gorgeous. It's got a little puff to it. So yeah, and then here's some other ones. This is a ball around that has all the intricate detailing on it. And I just, I have some tubes. I just paired them with few other beads that I thought were special, like I said, the mosaic shell beads. There's another beauty. So that's some of those. I have this beautiful pendant that I got. I do believe I got this one from nostalgica.com. So this was a rare find for me in locating this one and just grabbing it when I saw it. And as you can see on my little, I'm using an egg crate to hold all of these little things. Here's a larger bead. So beautiful. They're so intricate and just really beautiful. They make such special pieces. I pulled out some coins because I thought maybe I would eventually use the coins, but with the chain, I'm not sure the chain will go through those coins. I haven't tried it yet. Here's another one. So those are some of the beads that I've been working with in my collection of Cloisonné and the tensha beads. So let's talk about some supplies you may want or consider using, and we'll go from there. I have brought out, I did make all of these with gold. There's a lot of gold here. So I thought I would mix in, I did pick out a variety of beads here. I'll just toss them here on the table. Let me get a little closer. There we go. I did pick out, because I'm using this this black tensha bead. So pretty. And I'm considering these. I may have too many here. These lampwork beads. I pulled out 2 of the green, some clay beads, and then some more mosaic to go with my tensha bead. And what I've been doing is all of these have been strung on this fine chain here that you see. And was sort of looking for the name of this, and I think it's just called beading chain because you can feed beads onto it. It's all knotted up. We'll get that out. but it's just a fine chain. The other name I found for it was like a snake chain, because it is a smooth, flexible chain. That's great for beads with, you know, a little bit larger hole that you can feed onto. So we've got that, and then like I said, I want to mix in some silver. And I brought out a variety of silver beads. These are silver tulip beads. These are smooth silver rondelles. Some baby rondelles. And then I have these. These are the thin rondelles or heishi beads. I do have this I had the floral clasp in silver that I want to use. So I'm going to pull that out. And of course, some sparkling rondelles. So I'm going to bring out a variety of those to string with. You will also need, I'm using a 2x2. Let me get these out. I forgot to get these out. I can't believe it. So these are 2x2. I'll hold it up to the camera. 2x2 silver crimp beads you're going to need. And then I pulled out these are clamshell connectors, beading connectors. I use these also in knotting. So these are a really cool way to finish your chain, and it's pretty decorative. Let me see if I can show you how I did it. Let's see, I'll turn the clasp around. So if you can look here, you'll see a bit of the chain, and also we're going to talk about why that's there. And that's the clamshell beading connector that has a crimp inside of it. And then you connect it with some jump rings to your clasp. All right. So that is what we're going to do today. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this beading chain and we're going to create our pattern with the beads that we've selected. And so I'm going to do one side because these can be kind of interesting to, you know, feed onto the bead. You'll see why here in a minute. Sometimes the cloisonné I have to get up really close and then drop the chain through it, but I'll do one side and then I'll probably just finish the other side so we can move on and you don't have to watch me struggle. So first I'm going to go ahead and put on this Tensha bead. Let's see. There we go. Get it in there. And I'll rest it. Let me move these out of the way so you can see me stringing. Oh, and I did bring out some of the silver beads that I wanted to use. And so next to this Tensha heart, I'm just going to add this little silver spacer here. Add that one onto my chain if I can see. Oh my goodness. This may be more harder than what I was imagining, but it's okay. I'm going to get there. All right, there I go. I got the bead on there. So there's that. And then I think the pattern of my bead should be this. Here, I'm going to try it. The lampwork bead, the cloisonné, this is a shell mosaic bead. Remember I was saying they use shell chips and resin to make the beads. I love those. And then I have a small cloisonné round. So I just really like the graduation, I think is what I'm going for here in this design. But I think I want to put this one next to fill that little, the heart shape has that little indentation. So I think I want to fill that first. So I'm going to add that. Let's see if I can get my hands to cooperate and my hand and eye coordination, right? and show you how you can drop the chain in. Hey, it worked. Yay! I've done 4 of these, so you'd think I'd be a master at stringing these. And so in my designs, I just added the beads, and then with the gold, I would just sprinkle in the gold. Here I'm going to sprinkle in some silver. So I want to add a silver rondelle next to get some sparkle in there. And then I'm going to try this one because this has that little, this is a clay bead that has gold and bead caps on it. And so it has that little pointiness on the end. So that's what I'm going to use this one for. And again, I'm just dropping that chain down. That, and then I need a silver piece. So I'm going to do this one, I think. Maybe. Because I already used a crystal rondelle, so let me use this smooth silver bead in there. And again, I'm just holding the bead with the hole upright and hoping and praying that the chain goes through. And then I'm going to add this lampwork bead. Just dropping that chain in. And then a larger sparkle. Let's do that. It's a little larger sparkle rondelle. There we go. I'm going to add that. And then we want another cloisonné bead. And then I'm just holding the hole up straight upright and dropping that chain in. That is the best way I have found to string them on the snake chain or the beading chain. All right, let's see. So I've used this one. I want that for the end, I think. And then I think I'm just gonna not put anything there, maybe, because I use this one too. So I have these 2 little babies left that I think will go really nice on the end. So I'm just gonna add this one, and then we'll see where we're at. So again, holding that hole upright and feeding the chain on. And then I'm gonna add this beautiful, it's a silver bicone bead that I had. Okay. And then we have this gold bead, another gold, or it's like a reddish gold with green cloisonné. And then dropping the chain in there. Here's where I'm going to add my little silver, my tiny silver rondelle in. Go in, there we go. And then I'm going to use the tulip bead at the end. I love these little tulip beads. They're so pretty. I love the shape. All right. So there's what I had for my design. Sprinkling in the silver in there. Let me get a tape measure and see where we're at. So we need for our strand to be 3.5 inches, and we are at 4. So that means my bracelet's going to be huge. Of course, if you are designing for just the general population, a typical bracelet length is 7.5 inches, unless you're designing for someone in particular, and your wrist can range anywhere from 6 inches to 8.5 inches, maybe even 9. It just depends on who you're designing for. So you would keep adding those beads to create the length that you needed. So I'm not creating this for anyone in particular, so I'm measuring from the middle of that Tensha bead, and I want to have 3.5 inches, because that will give me 7 inches. And actually, since I'm using these, I need it to go to 6. So here's why. So we're going to use a jump ring, and we're going to connect everything. So that is already, look at that, that is already an inch. Plus the other side is another quarter. So you're really looking at a 1¼ inches for your clasp. So I want this to actually be 3 inches so that I can do another inch that will get me to 7 inches. So you could do anywhere between 3 to 3¼ and then add your clasp and you'd be at 7½ inches. So that's how I'm getting to that math of figuring out how many beads I'm going to need in order to create a bracelet. So in this case, I do want to stop at like 3¼ and that means I'm right here. So I am going to go ahead and rearrange my beads how I want them. You can do the same. You're going to rearrange your beads how you want them to get the length that you need, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. I have finished stringing my beads and I'm pretty happy with their placement. I'll just go through them really quick. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was on the ends I have some Swarovski Austrian crystal pearls in 4mm and 3mm, and I tried the 4mm and I liked that best, so I did add that in my tulip. I added 2. Okay, and then what I took out here, I ended up taking out the red mosaic shell beads and the 2 smaller cloisonné beads because I had to pick and choose in my design. And so one of the things I do when I'm working, and you have to really limit what you're doing, is to kind of ask yourself, well, what do I love most about this? Obviously, I can't have all the beads. It's going to be too big. So the things that I loved, obviously, were my Tensha heart, the clay bead, the lampwork bead, and this larger green bead. And they all pulled out the colors in my heart. So that is why I kept those 3 and took the other ones out. And then also, I loved the silver. The silver just adds another level of texture, if you will. Like this is a corrugated bicone, silver bicone. This one's smooth. And then of course the textures in the tulip, it's also a different shape. So one of the things I love about design is when you add different shapes and textures, that gives you a really neat and beautiful design. So that's where I'm at. I added the Austrian crystals inside my tulip. I kept the smooth round with the green cloisonné, the corrugated bicone silver bead, my lampwork bead that pulls out the colors of my Tensha bead, and the clay bead also with the pink and gold. And so I thought that that was a really smooth looking and really interesting looking bracelet, and very whimsical at that. I'm very much a whimsical artist, eclectic artist, so I really love pulling in the different varieties of the beads and shapes and textures. So that's where I came up with this bracelet. And here we have it. And the part 1 fun is kind of over, because that's the fun part of deciding, you know, how your design is going to be. And then now part 2 is, how are we going to finish this piece? So that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and move. This is 2 yards of this chain. And I wanted to tell you that I did remember, I found this chain at, it's called beadboxbargains.com. And they call it, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, Coriana chain. It's Coreana beading chain. And I bought it in 2 meters, which is 6 feet of chain. So, and they have it, I think I got it in silver and gold from there. I've also found it at the other place is beadshop.com, and they call it fine line chain, and they have it in a variety of metals. I think it's silver, gold, copper, and copper. And I think also brass is, I found it there. They, I believe, only sell it in 1 foot increments. So I thought this was a really good deal, buying 2 meters of it. The next thing I wanted to tell you, cloisonné beads. I have found and have shopped from Fire Mountain Gems. You can find cloisonné there. And also lampwork beads. You have to just kind of search around for lampwork beads. Lots of different artists make them. Not really sure where you can find the Tensha beads at this point. I've had these for a little bit of time. So, and the silver beads you can always find. I know different places have nice beads. I think these tulip beads I found at also beadboxbargains.com. All right, so that's a few places anyway for you to find some of these interesting beads. And if you just look around, I know Etsy has a lot of different beads you can find, and a really good variety. So let's go ahead and finish. So I am going to pull in, get my hand in here. I'm going to pull in the 2x2 crimp and the clamshell bead cover, and we're going to feed the chain over the crimp and in the clamshell bead cover. And so normally I do this at the beginning, so I do apologize, but you're going to need possibly some chain nose pliers, cutters, and then I'm going to tell you about 2 ways to crimp this chain. One is the fold over crimp, and the other is the magical crimper, which is a ball crimper. Both grab onto the chain really nicely and securely. So I have chosen the fold over crimp because the hole, let me see if I can grab this, the hole on my clamshell cover can be quite large. And I was worried that the ball crimp would slip through that hole. If you crimp with the fold over crimp, you know that it creates sort of a square rectangular shape, and it fills that hole up and it doesn't come through it. So that's why I'm choosing the fold over crimp. If you get a hold of some clamshells that have a smaller hole, you can certainly try. The magical crimper works amazingly well too. The main thing is you need for your crimping method to grab onto the chain, and that's what the ball crimper does. Whenever you use it with the beading wire, it grabs onto that wire and it doesn't go anywhere. Same thing with the fold over crimp. The fold over crimp sort of grabs onto that wire and creates a locking when you crimp it, and then you fold over it, and then you can push down on it such that it grabs onto that wire, and that's what you need. Please do not flat crimp. If you flat crimp this chain, it will come off. I've already done it because I had to try it. I ended up taking a crimp bead and trying it, and I ended up just wasting one because I really wanted to see if a flat crimp worked. My beads went everywhere, and that is what will happen if you flat crimp. If you flat crimp, it will break. It will pull through it'll pull through your crimp and also the clamshell cover, and you will be very sad because the beads will go everywhere. Just saying. Fair warning. All right, so let me show you what I've done here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do this side, and then we'll obviously do the other side because you need to have, I'm going to add this at the tip of my chain. Excuse me. And then, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. We need to add our chain in the clamshell first, if I can get my fingers to cooperate. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to slide that down. Now we add our crimp. These are so small, and I feel like I'm all fingers today. All right. And for here, we're just going to add that at the tip of our chain, and you're going to place it in the second divot of your crimper. And I'm going to pull it towards the end with just a little bit sticking out like so. And I'm going to clamp down. And you see that it creates that little bend in this. Then I'm going to stick it in the top divot. And I'm going to fold that crimp over like so. And you see how it creates a little rectangle or square. Then I'm going to put it in the very top, and I am going to clamp down on that. And it is very tight, very snug. It ain't going anywhere. Excuse my language. It is not going anywhere. But then I just want to take the little tip off because we don't need a lot sticking out since that crimp's our clamshell cover is going to go over that. So I'm just taking a little bit off. All right. All right. Again, pulling on it, and it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm just sliding my clamshell cover over, pulling on it again. Nope, not going anywhere. And you can either take your fingers, I usually take my fingers and just close it like so. And then you can take your chain nose pliers and just give it a gentle just nudge. And sometimes it does come uneven, and you can take your pliers and just kind of squeeze it to where it's in place. And if that happens to you, let me show you my little, I wouldn't open and close these too much, but you can see that I didn't clip enough away. Let me go ahead and clip a little bit more. Just gonna face that downward so it doesn't go flying off. Now you should be able to close it okay. There we go. So now it's in there. And again, now you can see that it's closed nicely, and we're ready for a jump ring on that end. So I'm going to go ahead. I need my other pliers. I should have brought those out. I try to think of everything, but sometimes I don't. So I'm just grabbing my other pliers so that I can open that jump ring. Okay, and I'm going to add one side of the clasp on. Okay, so I'm opening my jump ring from front to back, never side to side. And I'm going to feed the jump ring through that hole like that. And I'm just adding one side of my clasp, and then closing the jump ring. And now we have made our connection. So now I'm going to slide all of my beads all the way down like so. Get those in there. All right. The first part of my bracelet is done, and now we just need to do the other side. So now here comes the other part where I need to get to. So since I bought this I used the gold one, and I think I was able to get 5 bracelets out of this 2 meters. And I had just a little bit left over. All right, so we're going to feed the clamshell on and our crimp. And here is where a little bit of the tricky part comes into play, because you need a little bit of slack in the bracelet, because you don't want, just like you would use beading wire, you don't want your bracelet to be so tight when you add your crimp bead, because if you do that, you could snap it. So one way to add a little bit of slack, so I do want to make sure everything is down. All right, because you don't want a lot of slack, you just want a little bit. So one good way, if you were to put your, see how tight that is, and it barely moves, right? If you were to put crimp your crimp bead like that, look at that. There's no good movement. You want a little bit of movement in your bracelet, right? So this is a good way that you can add a little bit of slack. You want about, I think I measured it, it's maybe a little less than 1/4 of an inch. Because when you raise it, it's going to look like this. And you're going to go, oh no, why is that space there? Well, that space is there to allow your beads, excuse me, I keep getting something in my throat. You want, let me get on camera, you want that little bit of tension so that your bracelet moves. You want a little bit of movement. You want your beads to kind of lay over the wrist, and for that clasp to come together nice and easy and never really tight. All right. All right. So again, you move everything down to make sure that it's in place, but then we're going to add a little bit of ease and slack by moving our beads like we would wear the bracelet. All right, so now I need to get that crimp out of there. And if I add that, do that crimp like right there, that's going to give me about as much slack as I need. So you'll see that when you move the bracelet around, it goes away. You no longer see that little bit of empty space. All right. So I'm not going to cut my chain. You can cut your chain, but it's going to be really hard. You're not going to have much to grab onto. So here's where the tricky part comes. Stay with me. And getting ready to feed it down into, and I'm not going to, I'm just going to make sure everything, oops, I'm so sorry, I hit the camera, is down. But then I want to come up just a little bit, making sure I'm in the camera. I'm coming up just a little bit outside of that clamshell, and that's where I'm going to crimp it. Because remember, you want a little bit of slack. Pressing down on that second notch to create the divot. And then I'm going to turn it. It's in the first notch now. And I'm pushing down on it to fold it over. And then in the very top part, just giving it an extra squeeze. And it's not going anywhere. All right, that's what we want. And now we can clip our chain because we're done crimping. And you're going to crimp it right above that knot, the crimper. And we have just enough slack so that our bracelet sits nicely. So remember I said you'll have about a 1/4 of an inch. See how much slack? Don't look at it and go, oh no, oh my God, I messed up. No, you want that. All right, so I'm gonna give this a close, my fingers. And it looks like this one closed rather nicely. I don't have any gaps in it. So I'll show you again that when you go to move it, look at that. There's no gap. So now we can grab our other jump ring, opening front to back, feeding it into the clamshell connector, and then I'm adding all right, let's try that again. Adding it on the jump ring. And then I'm going to close it from front to back again. All right. And then I just give it a little squeeze for a good connection. And then that is our bracelet for today. Let me see. Get that in there. All right. There we go. Get my tools out of the way and I'll bring in my other pieces. I want to make another one. I think once you do this, you'll want to make more. You can use any variety of beads, really. I love the mixed metal look between the gold and the silver. I may have to do another one of those. Here's the 2 Tensha heart bracelets. If you enjoyed this video, I would love a like and a subscribe. I do appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope your year is off to a fabulous and wonderful start. I'm so grateful for you, and I hope you have starting off with a happy and healthy new year. Thanks always for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.